So we're going to look at the actual functionality that's currently available within CoPilot in general in the application space, and then specifically talk about that in the construction arena. So I'd like to hand over to Elliot, who is going to talk about Microsoft AI Vision. He's also going to sort of intro some of the sort of challenges that the construction industry are facing, from very much based on what we're talking to clients in the construction sector. So Elliot.
Thanks, Andrew. Our vision is to empower every organization and every person on the planet to do more. And there's never been a product that summarizes that vision more than CoPilot bears. Our vision for CoPilot is simple: to consolidate your data, increase your productivity, and decrease the number of required resources in this growing industry. I want to talk through some challenges and opportunities that we see as to build AI into your ERP system. And as we look towards what does AI look like today, what will it look like tomorrow, construction industry is always faced challenges, driven by whether that be rapid growth, labor shortages, lack of technology, process standardization, regulatory requirements, and an aging workforce. The pace of disruption is accelerating, which brings loads of opportunities faster than ever. The success of construction companies depend on their ability to address these challenges, anticipate changes, and adapt quickly. We've done a load of studies into the challenges that the construction industry face, and these were the 5 key pillars. So infrastructure funding, urbanization, and population growth are really driving significant growth in the industry. Companies traditionally are hesitant to technology advances, but they're now seeing actually adopting these technologies will help. You know, you look around today, there's thousands and thousands of people that are looking at construction technology, so that shows that the pace of change is going to increase. Increasing demand and labor shortage isn't going away. That's continuing to drive growth, but also the need for data transparency and understanding where your data is, where your products are, and where they fit. Disjointed system result in data silos. You would have done hundreds of people say that over the last 2 days. It always does. What we think is having a data platform is consolidated in one vendor is a great place to be, and Microsoft will give you that platform. Companies also struggle to track assets effectively, so where you're not able to see where your assets are at each point, giving a real challenge to an organization that has thousands and thousands of assets across the world. These challenges, they lead to tighter margins, they increase the competition for talent and demands for quicker project completion. CoPilot solutions will hopefully significantly enhance productivity, improve decision making, and streamline process throughout the whole industry. It's really important to note, though, that humans will always be at the loop. We're never going to lose the need for humans. We're going to require that they take on a new role, which is how do you enable a co-pilot, an agent, to do more and do more. CoPilot leverages your data, which is often siloed in multiple systems, processes, to allow you to predict outcomes and make data-driven decisions. Some of you may have used CoPilot, Microsoft CoPilot 365 today, which is an overlay of all of the Microsoft apps. What we are now doing is building CoPilot into specific products, like we show on the screen here for Dynamics 365, to make it relevant for each and every goal in the organization. So when we say empower every person to do more, this is how we do that. This is how we make these people more effective in their roles. The right tools make all the difference in repetitive work savings, allowing designers and engineers to focus on high-value activities that lead to innovation. Business development managers can move bids forward faster with AI-assisted email replies or responses to bids based on previous responses to other bids in that you've won or lost. You can use that bidding process to understand what values. Project managers were allowed to identify risks quicker and provide a mitigation plan based on an AI-powered solution to give you a quicker project plan. And then resource managers have more visibility of proposed work to identify and schedule resources and assets assigned by analyzing their skills, their certifications, their location, and loads of other now resources. So as we look to where CoPilot is today, we're still building. We're at phase one. We're understanding the need to tailoring that to organizations. Where we look to go is actually having a CoPilot aligned to every single person in every role, and then you have a team of agents that work alongside you. And I'm not going to talk on agents today. That will be next year when agents are coming in and running, and we've got loads of use cases that the agents will they will enhance your team's ability to do all, decrease that labor shortage that we talked about, and give your teams the ability to scale without the need to involve more. I'm going to hand back to Andrew to talk through the ERP area and really dive into where we see exactly those CoPilot use cases at it.
Thank you, Elliot. So what I'd like to, if we get into some of the AI and ERP, I'd like to sort of just give a bit of an outline in the Microsoft CoPilot ecosystem, because this is sort of various layers that build up to the end position. So, at a basic level, Microsoft CoPilot is an everyday AI companion for you that brings like a chat interface and large language models that retrieves information from the internet and allows you to sort of ask questions in natural language. It is very much sort of links you as the user to AI. So if you sort of think of CoPilot as a link to you, the user, and AI, many of you might already. Sorry, we'll switch to quickly there. So many of you might already be using CoPilot for Microsoft 365. It's effectively the layer that allows you to use CoPilot within all the sort of common Microsoft applications that you're currently using. So it's embedded within Microsoft 365 applications, and it's allowing you to sort of utilize data, the documents, emails, calendar, chats, meetings, and wider business data to actually enhance productivity. You then have Microsoft CoPilot Studio, which allows you to actually customize ANI to make it specific for your sales. Okay? And all of that is done with sort of enterprise-grade security you'd expect from Microsoft. You've got that layer of protection as well. Okay? What Microsoft are now doing, though, is they're applying the next layer of CoPilot by embedding it into the business applications. So if you use Microsoft applications, you're starting to see CoPilot appearing within the CRM system, customer engagement. You're starting to see it within finance and operations. You're starting to see it with the trouble we're going to talk about in a moment, which is Business Central. And you're starting to see the productivity tools being added into your core applications, as well as that wider Microsoft M365 stack. So the application that we're going to talk today about is Microsoft Business Central, and it's Microsoft's ERP solution for what was called the SMB sector of Microsoft, for small and medium businesses. And I don't know whether people know very much about Business Central as a product, but it's an all-in-one ERP platform for the SME sector. So it's scalable for single employee organizations right up to companies employing thousands of users. And it's designed to be a system that is used across a whole organization. So it's used through projects, sales, through your projects, through to procurement, through to back office admin functions. The core product is then supported by what we call ISD solutions. There's about 7,000 ISD solutions, which could be sort of plug-in add-on modules just to give productivity enhancements, or they could be deep vertical solutions such as a construction industry solution, which is what they come on to. And all of the Business Central solution is adopting the wider or integrated with the wider Microsoft product stack. So the familiar applications you were using as Office applications, SharePoint, etc., Teams, it's embedded within that. It's also embedded within the wider for Microsoft Power Platform. So the product is using the wider Microsoft ecosystem. If you ask the question of why do customers buy Business Central as a product, it is a pure cloud solution. So it is the SaaS product on the Microsoft platform. You have no requirement for on-premise infrastructure, no requirement for a private cloud or Azure-based solutions, and it is kept up to date by Microsoft through biannual updates of the underlying platform. It's, as I said, it's part of that wider Microsoft product stack, so you have the integration with the wider Microsoft Office platform. It also has exceptional levels of functionality. So in that SMB sector, I believe it's unrivaled in terms of the functionality that it offers. It means all of your business is working in a SQL system, so you remove the need for siloed data and processes. It's very scalable. As I said, it could be a single user up to 1,000 users. You're availing of the Microsoft grade enterprise security within the system. It's very easy to use. It's got a familiar Microsoft looking feel. And then finally, you've got the CoPilot functionality that is now being embedded within the application. And when we talk about that CoPilot within Business Central, I think it's just worth remembering you've got that complete security, compliance, privacy, and responsibility layer that Microsoft are providing. So, CoPilot will control the data that people can access through the system. Your data is not leaving the EU from the compliance perspective. Microsoft do not share the data with anybody. And users also get to review the output before anything's actually done with it. So you've got a very strong security layer over the top of it. So what I want to talk about now is actually, what does this actually look like in an application? So if you are using Business Central today, you can actually start to see the CoPilot functionality being added in, and you can actually start to use it. And I'm just going to sort of run through some of the features that are now available. First of all, you have inbuilt analysis. So rather than having to rely on third-party reports or going into the finance team to say, can you provide me with some information? You now have tools where you can actually go into the system and use track functionality and ask it to interpolate it through you in a format what you want in an intuitive manner. You can also use what's called autofill functionality. So, for example, if you are setting up a new customer, you do not need to go and know all the information because it will actually start autofill the information based on public information on the Intel. So it's going to actually start to reduce their data can be removed. And we're starting to see the task automation sort of through clever use of the data, things like bank reconciliation tools. We also then within the system now chat functionality. That can be chat functionality to find business data. It could be find out what the field actually is for, or actually get guides on how to conduct tasks within the system. So the days of user manuals are being replaced by the chat functionality. One of the two key features that we're starting to use a lot now is the summarize function, whereby we have the ability to surface key data to the user when they are on a record within the system. So if you were, for example, looking at a customer record, it can start to surface the key data to you relevant to that customer at that particular time. And lastly was, Elliot already mentioned agents. We can use suggestions. So it can be intelligent to actually suggest information to you based on natural language. Elliot mentioned agents earlier on. And agents are effectively what Microsoft have developed to actually allow us to automate tasks and processes. The first agent that has been released is what's called the sales agent. Is the first one, but I think we can expect more to come from Microsoft down the line. What the sales agent does is it actually allows the system to monitor email addresses. So you have a designated email address. A customer does send an email to that, asking on saying, I would like to buy X, Y, and Z. The system will interrogate that email. It will respond to the email. It will actually allow for a quote to be prepared automatically based on the communication with the customer. That quote can be sent back to the customer. If the customer emails back in and says, I would like to proceed, it will convert that quote into an order and dynamically then send it through the process. So agents are being introduced to very much automate tasks, particularly repetitive tasks, where we can actually streamline processes. And I think we're going to see a lot more agents coming through the system in due course. So I sort of talked a little bit about Business Central, how Copilot's been embedded within the core system. I'd like to talk about that now from a construction industry perspective. So we have a product called Contracts 365, which is a deep vertical add-on from Business Central that adds in what we call core construction industry functionality into Business Central. So we're adding in functionality such as contract management, subcontractor management, plant, timesheets, applications, valuations, retentions into that core system. What the CoPilot toolkit allows us to do now is to actually utilize CoPilot into our vertical offering. So we are now able to add automation with using CoPilot into our solution. When we do that, we have to assess what we want to do. So we still have some sort of guidelines of what we follow. So we always want to make sure anything we do has a real value proposition. We don't want to just do AI automation just for the sake of it. We want to look at how we actually solve real business challenges. We want to look at how we can enhance productivity, and ultimately, how do we drive efficiency? So some of the areas we're now working on, we're actively working on these with Microsoft, is we're using this summary feature to surface key contract information to QSs and contract managers at the point they are in a record. So at the point of analyzing a contract, we're looking to actually surface, are there overdue part items in the contract? Are there overdue retentions or overdue applications? We can also start to surface information around non-compliance of subcontractors directly to the subcontractor at the point they are reviewing their information. We're also using analysis tools to give sort of early visibility of contractor performance to contract managers. So if we have a situation where they be cost complete or over budget, for example, we can actually surface those warnings to the user when they're actually looking at the system. And then we're looking at using agents to actually streamline processes. So we're looking at, can we actually use agents to streamline subcontractor setup? So rather than having elongated questionnaire being sent out, which somebody fills in, gets sent back, gets paid in, has to get approved, we're looking to actually see, can we automate that using an agent with an approval process and then following out the transactions. And we're also looking to look at using agents to automate procurement processes, particularly requisition to quote to order. So, by way of conclusion, what as I alluded to, AI is still at an early stage of adoption, but it is starting to change how businesses work. And I think every business is starting to look at it and try to look at what is the use case that AI within their business, within their sector. We see AI as being a key tool for helping organizations within the construction industry overcome some of those challenges that Elliot outlined earlier. Microsoft CoPilot that gives us the tools, along with the Microsoft 365 Copilot stack, to actually sort of improve business applications and improve productivity. So we're actively using tools such as agents, chat, analysis, and summarize that are already available and will become more widespread within the application. Ultimately, I think this is going to lead to better productivity, and you can improve decision making for all organizations. So our advice to any customer or prospective customer, if you are thinking about or looking for an ERP solution, is Copilot or AI should be a real key factor for you in the selection criteria. Whether the use cases are there today for it, you need to make sure that the selection provides you with a solution that's actually going to give you a future-proof from an AI perspective going forward. So thank you very much for listening. We have got time for questions if people like to. Elliot, what's up? We'll try to ask.
Hi, I'm Manila. I'm from University of Cambridge. My question is, do you collaborate on some research projects to identify those use cases?
We do. Myself and some colleagues have just come back from a Tuesday session with Microsoft where we actually spent 2 days specifically investigating what the use cases could be. We're also engaging with our clients to ask them where do they feel the use case could be. We haven't done what wider research happens out of the Microsoft team or our customer team, but yeah, something we could do now. Okay, well, thank you very much. Appreciate you all taking some answers this afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.